to me in the summer holidays.
Sorry.
Hi guys, welcome to Adventurers Wanted. This is the 57th hour so far. Yeah, I know. Only 193 to go. So just so you know, this is a relaxed performance. That means the lights will stay like this. There won't be any loud sudden noises. If you need to take a break at any point, you can just head out the back doors, come back in, any time in the hour. And there's a relaxed attitude to sound and movement from the audience for the benefit of people who struggle being still and silent for an hour. If there's anything you don't look like you need hearing loop headsets, but if you did need anything like that, just let me know. I'm Chloe, I'll be over there. But I will now hand you over to Alex, who is our games master for the hour.
Hello! Welcome. Yes, I'm Alex, I'm the Games Master. For those of you who don't know, this is a tabletop role-playing game. What that means is that the players sat around the side of me are playing individual, unique characters. I am playing the world and everything in it. They will tell me how they want to interact with the world, and I will ask them to roll dice, and their success or failure rolling those dice will determine their success or failure in doing the things that they want to achieve. The story so far. All of our characters are members of a ship known as the Spirit of the Horizon. It's a military science vessel. It finds itself in a strange new world, having been sent here by a powerful tablet spell which they discovered whilst awakening an ancient evil god. They have been here now for around 2 weeks and have had many adventures, although there is a sense amongst the crew that they would really like to get home. They left their world in a strange and dangerous, precarious position. They've had many adventures, as I mentioned. Most recently, having saved the lives of 3 powerful queens who lived together in various cities on an island known as the Troquin Caldera, they have gained favour with one of them, a tall Arabi queen, 7 foot tall, glowing, flowing white robes by the name of Abilzim. A few days later, after the party have had a chance to tend their wounds and relax a little, she has called a small band of people together and sent them off on a diplomatic task to a land known as Rawstool. Here in Rawstool, 2 ancient foes are locked in a battle of grudge. The Kotaku, a 7 foot tall, thick-skinned, long, dark, flowing-haired race, and the Komodo, a smaller race of lizard folk. They made their way up the inlet. The main ship itself was docked off the edge of the island, and up the stream they landed, going through a small lake, on the edge of a large open plain, greyed and desiccated from what they think is many years of war. There was a battle in front of them. People fought on either side, and just before we ended, one of the lizard men was slain, and his fellows ran off towards the forests where you presume their home lay. The Kotaku, who remained on the battlefield in front of you, are there, and they're cheering with joy at the success of this most recent skirmish. That is where we will pick back up. Before we start, I'd just quickly like to go everyone around the table, explain their name, the name of their character, and something about that character that would make their other people on the table and the other people on the ship know who they are. I'm going to start to my right.
Okay, I am Isla. I am playing Noggin, who is a gnome rogue, ship's dentist, and collector of shiny things.
Sorry, yeah, sorting out water. I'm Naomi, hi. I'm playing Brina Froddle, who is a gnome wizard with the gnome squad. She focuses on arcane research, some magic research on the Spirit of the Horizon. There's about to be a very interesting interaction with Captain Golan, I'm sure. And she's a little bit panicky. She was getting a bit more confident, and then she dissolved the captain's back a little bit, and so she's less confident now.
I'm Paul. I'm going to be playing the amazing Dench, who is a bard, who is half orc, half fork, unspecified the other half. And I essentially go around and take credit for a litany of pop songs. Just play them at people and go, that's one of mine.
I'm Chaz, and I'm playing Captain Golanhite, the captain of the ship, the Spirit of the Horizon. Has a tendency to fly into violent psychotic rages when he drinks, mainly calmed down by his new adopted child, a small griffin that he has dubbed Chauncey. For the past couple of days, he has locked himself in his room because he feels that his rage is going too far and maybe taking control of his mind.
Wonderful. So, Brina and Dench, you are stood on the beach watching this fight in front of you. Both of you have started to make your way towards it in an attempt to sort of calm the combatants down. Your attempts to calm them down haven't particularly succeeded. They are very much engaged in this fight, and you have just seen the fallen person and his compatriots start to turn tail and flee. At this moment in time, Robo, who was with you, you recognise this telltale sign. The air starts to fizz, and you feel a tang in your mouth as that magical energy comes in again. He is enveloped in this kind of swirling golden metallic energy, and he disappears. In his place, you see the captain. And just off to your left, you are joined by Noggin.
Is it like we're all really on the ship, but we're just sort of out of body?
Roll a Arcana check for me.
Okay. It's not great. 10.
This is not the first time it's happened. It happens with extreme regularity.
Almost hourly.
Almost hourly. The story that's going around on board ship is that they think it might have something to do with like a latent magical energy left over from the spell that brought them to this world. Roll a insight check for me.
Oh, 5, not good.
Unfortunately, that is all you know. That's all that you've heard. It's the number one guess as to what's occurring on board the ship.
Right. So can I ask a question to anybody in character?
I research magic on the ship, so.
That's great. So I've just seen the thing. If we get hurt here, are we hurt on the ship as well?
So we're not on the ship. As far as we can tell, we are literally swapping out and teleporting with each other. So we're not on the ship. If we get hurt here, if we die here, we're dead.
And if we shit our pants?
We will be. They are our pants, and they will be shattered.
That would explain a great many things. Okay, lovely.
Captain, you have been tucked away for the best part of maybe 5 days now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In your cabin. Brina put a magical arcane lock on it. It's uncertain. Most of the crew are uncertain whether you instructed her to do it or whether she's done it off of her own bat for your protection.
In the most passive-aggressive mutiny of all time.
No, he asked me to do it.
How have you been spending your past 5 days, and what were you doing immediately before you were brought into this situation?
Well, I was probably because I'm just in my room, I was probably re-going over this giant map that I had constructed of like where we are, constantly adding all the various locations we've been traveling to it. Then just like staring at the tablet and being like, no, I'm an idiot, don't know what this means. And then mainly, and what I was doing right before this moment, probably playing with Chauncey, my lovely pet griffin, on my lap, because he makes me happy.
Yeah. Chauncey he's growing slowly, and he's taking in vital nutrients as the ship has been restocked. He was previously around about the size of a cat, I believe. He's now the sort of size of like a small spaniel. Yep. You know, he's grown a little bit. These things grow quite quickly. You find yourself now on sort of a landfall. Yep. In front of you is this vast delta, this sort of diluvial plain almost. It's greyish. And in front of you are the cheering Kotaku. Ah, victory!
Oh, God.
Victory, Montego! Victory!
Oh, God.
The moment I see him appear, I just want to very quickly take out a notebook and write down and go, okay, well, that didn't work, did it? But we'll try again next time. All right.
No.
Just join in the celebrations.
No, this is too early. I'm not ready yet.
Captain Golan, you okay?
Yeah, what? Yes. Yes. Fine. Thank you. Oh, thank God this came with me. Oh, God. No, I'm fine. Thank you. No, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I haven't quite figured out this magic yet. Okay, we're on a peacekeeping mission, everyone.
Oh, peace. Oh, that sounds very good right about now.
Yeah, but the Queen did specify as little violence as possible. Try and get a peacekeeping happen so they can start trading with this island again.
Oh, God.
Okie dokie.
At this point, one of the big party, in the middle of their cheers of success, victory, this is ours, finally, flee, you fools! One of them spots you and notices that you are here and that you are very different from them. And he starts to stalk over towards you. He's probably about 40 or 50 feet away from you at the moment. So
Put your hand down, Noggin.
and
Excessive raving.
I'm just going to start looking as friendly as possible, so actually...
2 notes. Waving away.
he strides.
Coming party.
He strides up to you and he plants himself firmly and powerfully in front of you. And you can see now that this is the man who, or the Kotaku, who almost died. He is the person who gave the killing blow to the lizard man. And it's him who, around whom all of the other Kotaku are sort of standing and cheering. And he walks up to you and he says, "What brings you here at the scene of our victory?" And he
Well
looks-
done.
Thank you, thank you.
Really good, really top-notch stuff. We were just, edge of your seat, wasn't
Very impressed.
He clocks you and he sees you in your full bardic regalia. And he looks across and he says, "A bard, wonderful. We will have singing and stories and dancing to our great victory tonight."
Oh, my God.
It's
Can I
incredible.
look to the heavens and go, take me back to the boat?
He clocks you and he says, "Your boat is just behind you, man, if you wish to."
That's not what he
Yeah, you
means.
should
Don't
know the
worry,
difference
don't
between
worry,
a boat
sir.
and a ship
Fine.
if you're going to call yourself captain.
You are on the thinnest of ice right now.
Is captain your name or?
No, I'm the captain.
Okay, sure, just checking.
"You are strangers here. I
Yes.
have not seen you nor your kind before. What brings you to Rawstool?"
We were actually here from Queen... Was it Elwyn or...
Abilzim.
Abilzim. Okay. We're actually here on behalf of Queen Abilzim, of Liness. Yeah. She just wanted us to meet with the leaders of your armies and speak with them.
He doesn't look angry, but he does, at the name Abilzim, he sort of, a sour taste crosses his mouth and he says, "And what does her ladyship desire of us now?"
She is just interested in reopening the trade routes.
"With the Kotaku, or with the Kotaku and the Komodo?"
That is something that we are going to discuss with your leaders.
Which one are you?
Noggin! Noggin!
They're the
Perfect,
Kotaku,
racially
Noggin.
insensitive talk. No.
I'm Noggin.
He looks at you disdainfully when you ask him which one he is. But when it's cleared up, he stalks over to you and he leans down as low as he can to shake your small gnomish hand. And he says, "Welcome to the land of the Kotaku, known as Rawstool. Do not deal with the lizard men.
There are lizard men? That's cool.
There are fewer now than there were before." And he turns to his friends behind him, and they give this great roar of approval and success.
Oh,
Yes, correct.
it's like
grammar. We should
100
be
phylums.
As he reaches down, roll me a perception check, please.
Accidental. 12.
12. You see, I mean, you're not particularly, you've not met many of these ones before, but you see that he's perhaps quite young. He's not particularly lined around the face, and he's full and flushed with the vigour of youth and young manhood, or young Kotafuhood. He's dressed in these fine silks and sort of... The Kotafu themselves don't wear a huge amount of clothing. You look around and you see it's largely kind of loincloth-based clothing. They tend to wear maybe a sash or tiny bits of jewellery upon themselves. He, however, wears a little bit more. Roll me an insight check.
Can I try and steal some of this jewellery?
Could you wait?
20?
20 on your insight?
Yeah.
Non-natural.
Sorry, I got distracted by thinking about you stealing stuff. Yeah, you can see that he is probably of noble birth. But even then, looking behind you at the people, the ones arrayed behind you, who all seem relatively devout and upright as well, this guy seems to be wearing just that little bit extra fizz, that little bit extra flush on his clothing. His loincloth has like a lacy trim to it almost.
Does he have belts?
He does not have any belts.
Okay.
No. Would you like to try and steal anything from him?
Yes, please.
Roll me a sleight of hand check.
Noggin.
Oh, natural 20. I mean, critical success.
Yes!
As
Out of character, so excited. In character, hate.
I would like to roll a perception, not for me stealing, but for Chauncey to notice her stealing.
do it. Your hand, as he reaches out to take your hand, your hand reaches around, and from his boot, which is basically the only thing he wears other than the loincloth on his lower half, you pull a small, fine metal dagger with a tiny little green, like emerald gem on the end of it.
Very good. My list is getting
What do you do with it once you've stolen it?
I hide it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a backpack with me at all times to put shiny things in. I also have they're basically shorts with lots and lots of pockets in for hiding shiny things.
He doesn't spot you pocket it, you being very adept at your job. And he, still holding on to your hand, looks into your face, beaming, and says, "I suppose introductions are in order. My name is Rom. My friends call me Heartverse, as is the Kotafu way.
Does that mean you're the boss?
Maybe one day."
You're not the boss.
Excellent. Well, I'm not sure if I'm the first person in history to say this, but I'm pretty sure I am. Take me to your leader.
This is our leader, Captain Golan.
Well, I'm currently on a bit of a captain sabbatical, but I'll be in charge of the landing party.
He is. He turns to you and sort of looks you over properly for the first time, having been a little dismissive, and says, "Captain, well, you are welcome in our land, as long as you do not deal with the filthy Komodo. I will take you to see my father. But before you do, I must go and treat with my fallen friend." And at that point, he turns his back on you and starts to walk away towards the open battlefield and to a fallen Katafu who Brina and Dench saw stabbed a few moments ago. He goes to him. He quite carefully and reverentially gets down onto the ground beside him, and he mutters a short prayer. Roll me a perception check.
Ooh, 20, non-natural.
It's a 14.
13.
16.
It's quiet, but you hear snippets of words you don't understand, perhaps in their own language. But in and among there, you keep hearing this same word repeated over and over again. The word is Kataruba. It sounds like along those kinds of lines. Roll me a religion check.
Do I have anything on religion?
12.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that is a
21.
big fat 4.
21.
Captain, you've been dealing with various different religions over your last
I'm very confused.
2 weeks on it, and you haven't necessarily been taking notes.
No. That's Philip's job.
Dench, you've been hanging around the bar area a little bit more than the others, and so you have come across Plumage, who has made himself the erstwhile ambassador of the land to the ship. And you've definitely heard this name before. You get the impression that Kataruba is some kind of racial deity specific to the Kotaku. He is knelt over the body and he lifts it up and he carries it reverentially in his arms, and he starts to walk away. And as he does so, he turns and looks over his shoulder and he says, "Well, if you wish to speak with my father, you must follow me. If not, stay here. But beware the Komodo. They cannot be trusted." And he starts to walk off.
Before we decide, I'm going to quickly message Golan and say the Queen favours the Komodo. You can reply to me in the message so you can decide what we're going to do.
Oh, wonderful. And then the sound of a single hand clap.
I'm going to message again. Shall we go with him?
The dead Komodo. Have they
We
got
saw them
belts?
first.
The dead Komodo. Have they got belts?
There's probably 2 or 3 Komodo corpses around.
I love their belts.
A couple of them have some pretty basic kind of leather-in belts. One of them, the one that you saw fall at the hands of the Katavu that you have just been speaking to, yeah, he's pretty tooled up, actually. Would you like to investigate
Yes.
the corpse?
Yes.
Wonderful.
We're following on with Ron, by the way.
That's fine.
So-
I've seen your path. It's
Man needs his belt.
it's only looting. It doesn't take long. One person.
What do you roll?
Oh, thank you.
Investigation.
Investigations there. 14.
Yeah, you find 2 fine belts, both with silver buckles. They're made from important leathers, which are very rare, actually, in the areas that you've been to so far. You also find, tucked away in a little pouch at the back, some small vials.
Darkness falls.
Across the
This has been an issue with our
That was
lighting,
very
so we're
Matt
really,
Berry,
really
I
sorry.
enjoyed that. Darkness falls.
Small vials.
Yeah, some small vials, inside of which are different coloured liquids. One is a light pink, and the other one sort of glistens and glints with a kind of deep blue. All my stuff fell on the floor. Sorry.
Well, even as you were having your little secret conversation, I was skipping along behind the
Of course you
person
were,
with all the
Noggin.
shiny things on them.
So we're going to follow Noggin.
I'm fairly sure I can catch up with a laden Kotafu. He's carrying another body.
I mean, he's pretty strong.
Sure.
These guys are like, how you're a half orc. Yeah, I mean, you're tall and pretty well built. He's slightly taller and, if anything, a little bit more hench than dench.
Sure. So his friend is also hencher than Dench
Yeah,
and heavy.
yeah.
So he
So
is
it'd be like if
laden.
you were carrying
He'd be
you.
fine though.
Yeah.
He's still moving at his normal speed.
All right.
Chauncey,
Yeah, yeah,
stop
yeah.
nibbling on that corpse. Chauncey! Chauncey!
So yeah, he starts stalking off, and he's heading up away from you, off towards the east, starting to make his way towards the, not to the mountains, but certainly to the low hills that are nearby. Roll me a perception check, because you arrived and were more caught up in the battle. You can roll me a perception check as well, please, Noggin.
Oof. I'm being punished for coming again today. That is 12.
Plus 7. Thank you. What was it? 12 plus 7.
19.
So
19.
19.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Maths.
You both see that in front of you are a number of buildings on the top of this mound, and also these tall watchtowers almost built out of open timber, just a basic platform across the top and then a couple of ladders up to them. In front of all of that you see short brick walls and then short like palisade walls, and everything seems to be sort of at various different angles. There's no sort of defensive wall around it, but you get the impression as from here certainly that to get through this area would require you to sort of dash and go through various different ways. If you want to find yourself into the city, it is worth following. If you were to not follow these people, you can still make your way in, but it might be more difficult.
Good job we're following.
Follow.
Yes.
Follow. I am not prepared for any more fighting today. What day is it?
We rested for a couple of days.
2 days.
How many days?
Rom over his shoulder, he says, "Today is Cutter's Day."
Yay!
Thank you for
Of
that.
course.
Thank you for that illuminating
It's been-
information.
it's been-
Oh, literally.
It's been about 4 days, Captain Golden.
4 days.
Yeah.
Oh, I must not smell that good.
I'm going to quickly prestidigitation some of the stuff that will have come off, just some of the sweat from Captain Golan, subtly, as to not embarrass him. But.
Who's walking closest to the captain?
Don't know, what order
Wait.
are we in?
Like I think it was you, and then
I was
us two, and
skipping
then
ahead
you
in
at the back.
front.
So, Dench, the air noticeably becomes slightly... what you had assumed was the smell of the battlefield,
Yeah.
which is pretty bad, has become almost imperceptibly better now that the captain has had a little bit of a clean-up. As you're walking deeper into the battlefield, you look around you, and alongside the sort of parched and damaged ground, you start to see small piles of bone and bits of broken armour,
Any teeth?
bits of broken weaponry. Oh, yeah, loads of teeth.
I collect some teeth.
There are skulls and various things all over the floor here. You managed to gain 18 teeth
Oh, brilliant.
by raiding a variety of different skulls. The Komodo teeth that you gain are small and spiny and spiky. The Kotaku teeth are much bigger. The molars themselves of the Kotaku are like the size of your entire thumb. That's how big they are, because you're just a small gnome. If you keep taking teeth at this rate, your walking speed will be reduced.
That is probably the strangest question I've heard Tia ask in this entire time I've been doing this.
I think 18 teeth is a good number of teeth. I'm sure I get a nice mixture of different types of teeth.
You
So
do.
I'll take them and I'll study them as I'm walking along. But
Golan lets out a loud, audible sigh.
Yeah.
compare them with my shark
I'm
teeth
also
that
going to
go
roll
over
my
the other.
eyes while I see this happening.
And my snake's
Noggin,
teeth.
roll me a nature check, please.
Get back to my stats. Ooh, critical failure. I should know about teeth.
You should know about teeth, and you do. You do know a lot about teeth. You can name all of them. You can see that the Komodo have fewer than you expected. The Kotaku have exactly the number you were expecting. You spot, but not very well, that some of these bones are older than others. This war has been going on for a long time. with various degrees of success. And this person who fell today and these people who fell today are not the first, and you think probably not the last, who will fall in this great war.
Unless we stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, positive thinking.
Do you say that out loud?
Well, no.
Okay.
Is that just my internal monologue? This war's been going on a long time. And then say it. No. In all in my
Unless the
head.
only thing that comes out is just, yeah, positive thinking.
As I'm staring at these teeth.
Rom and his small band of followers are stalking off into the city. And as they do so, they cut through past these small walls and these small palisades. Here and there you find a small ditch. There are little bands of Kotaku. And as you look around, roll me a perception check, please.
11.
7 today. 8.
20?
22.
22. Noggin and Brina, you both notice dotted here and there single sentry-like Kotaku. They're stood there braced against this sort of strong wind that flows through the air. Pretty much all of them are literally just wearing a loincloth. They carry a sword beside them, and a couple of them, certainly Noggin, you notice this, the loincloth itself is long. It goes around their waist and around their back, and then it drops almost entirely the way to the floor. And on the loincloth is emblazoned this large broadsword with like a lightning bolt cross handle. And it goes from the top all the way down to the bottom.
Can I roll to try and hide my discomfort?
Yes.
Would that be performance or deception?
Do you mean it?
I do mean it.
Performance. Thank you.
10.
You don't hide your discomfort, but fortunately, no one notices it.
Great.
And I'm waving at these guards as I go by.
As you go past as well, you notice that it's not just the male Kotaku who wear this loincloth. It is worn by all members, regardless of their gender. And none of them seem to be in any way concerned or bothered about it. Do you mention it to them?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, cool.
Den, you've gone weirdly quiet since we arrived.
I'm trying to figure out which song to sing them. Are we arriving anywhere yet?
Yes, you are now coming into the town.
I begin singing "We Are the Champions" in honour of Rom.
They have...
It's of my own composition.
That's lovely. Is that one of yours?
Yeah, it's not bad. It was inspired by his fight just now.
They at first they look at you surprised.
Yeah, because it's a minor opening. It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's not till the chorus really kicks in. You go, yes!
Do you know what would really improve that song? You could find some way to layer the harmonies on top of it.
But slowly but surely they catch up with it, and once it hits the chorus, they're all over it, and they start chanting it. Not necessarily in tune, but they're very, very keen on it. And Rom turns to you and he says, "That's such a wonderful song. We must have it written down. Perhaps we shall make it absolutely certain that all Kotaku shall sing this in future whenever we have a glorious victory in battle."
That's wonderful. I do have some sort of PRS conditions attached to it. However, I'm happy to write it down now. It's in honour of your battle.
The Amazing Dench takes 3 points of psychic damage.
Yeah, all right, mate.
That's not what PRS means.
If you'd like to come up with an acronym appropriate to the world now, you're more than welcome.
It still stands. Performing rights society. That's right.
Oh, yeah, it does.
We have never heard of this society.
It's fine. I'll send you a very boring email.
You take an additional
We don't mean that anyway.
Scroll. I'll send you a scroll.
Yes, at this point, you are now right on the outskirts of the town, the Kotaku town. Around you, you see small bands of the Kotaku moving from place to place. Most of them seem to be tooled up as if ready for an imminent battle at any time. You look around the town, and it's pretty haphazard and disorderly. The cordon itself that you've moved through is clear and cleansed, and there's lots of well-appointed positions where you can see the sentries. But the town itself is a little bit more chaotic. Roll me perception checks, and then anyone who rolls above a 15, roll me an insight check.
Oh, I did roll above a 15. I rolled a 17.
I rolled a 14, but I'm going to roll for Chauncey.
So insight then is 16.
Wait a second. Hold up. This could be a big deal. That's a 17 for Chauncey.
It was 15. Perfect. So that was 15 plus 1 is 16.
Anyone who rolled above a 15, that's your insight, yes?
That was my insight. I rolled two 16s.
Oh no, I haven't rolled my insight for Chauncey yet.
Okay, let's see what insight Chauncey has gleaned.
That Chauncey won't be able to communicate with us because she's a griffin.
12 for Chauncey.
That was loud.
What is it, girl? Did you see something? Is it something about a well? I'm getting well.
Do you feel how the well?
What's that, Twinkle Toes? Well done, a well?
Brina,
Yes.
you see as you look around that these buildings look like they've been torn down and then rebuilt and moved around and torn down, and they've not necessarily torn the whole building down and moved it. Sometimes they've just torn down what they needed and moved it. You get the impression that these guys, they've fought a lot of running battles, they've gained ground, lost ground, and as they do so, they sort of build around whatever's there. They tear stuff down, they put stuff back up. It's restless. Right. There is this sense of urgency and chaos, and you get this insight feeling that perhaps this isn't unique. This isn't just because there's been a skirmish. This is pretty much what day-to-day life is. The wind rushes around here. You're on an exposed bluff, basically. The hill looks out across the battlefield area below, the diluvial plain below. And as you look out, you see the small patches of skeletons and fallen that you had passed is just the edge of it. As you look out across this battlefield, you can see dotted here and there large clusters and clumps with jagged white bones sticking out of them. And you also see in the middle what look like fresher corpses. This is an area which has seen and continues to see great battle. To the north of you, in the middle of the battlefield, stands a small mesa, a short hillock with a flat top. And around that there appears to be a large cluster of bodies of various degrees. And then over the other side of the battlefield, that's where the forest lies, and you can see above the forest at the very beginning these platforms with tiny, tiny little figures on top of them. You enter into the Kotaku town, and Rom turns to you and he says, "Welcome to Catabali. You are welcome here. Please, come visit my father. Lord Rem will have much to discuss with you. We must start by seeing how you will help us clear out these Komodo interlopers."
Could I ask you something, Rob? If that's okay.
Of course.
Why is your you have your given name Rom, and then you have a name that you give to yourself, Heart First, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why Heart First, if you don't mind me asking?
The Kotaku,
She takes out her notebook and starts writing it down.
when he sees you get the notebook out, he becomes slightly more florid in his speech, as if he's, at least he does. I don't necessarily. I'm going to try.
That's fine.
He says, "The Kotaku are a proud race, and we have great importance in our deity, Kataruba. When we come of age, it is our duty to choose our own name from suggestions made by our peers and family. I chose a name given to me by my friend," at which point he looks down at the body that he is carrying. And he says, "He gave me this name because of my way with words, and because, like all good Kotaku should, I wear my heart openly on my sleeve. He looks across to the bard.
I observe that they're just wearing like long silks and don't have sleeves. I say nothing. I say absolutely nothing. But it does occur to me, how does he know what a sleeve is?
So interesting, thank you.
He brings you now towards a small, low building in which you can see the crest of Kataruba in a shield above the door. And standing, waiting impatiently at the doorway, is a large, tall, older Kotafu man. And he looks across to Rom, and he sees him, and he says, "Rom, you have been fighting?" And Rom clocks his eye, and you see imperceptibly almost a sort of slight Oh, damn it! No, not now, Dad.
Dad.
And he says, "We won, Father. It was a great victory for the people of Kata." And Rem looks down and he sees in his arms the body of the fallen Komodo, the fallen Kotafu, and he says, "Marcos, what happened?" At that point, he clocks you guys, and he looks to you for an answer.
Well,
Get him away from me.
well,
Just a-
I'm very glad you've looked to us for an answer, and I think that the best person to answer it would be Brina. Brina, do you want to go?
He looks across at the small gnome.
Can I roll a Constitution saving throw to see if I start shaking or not?
You can indeed.
Not vomit, just shake. Saving throw is +2, 12, and Prob's fine. Okay. just a slight shake.
Yeah.
Well, we sailed in through the river, and we noticed a fight going on. We stayed back to observe. We tried to stop it, but then it seemed like none of our business. And he was felled by a Komodo.
Yes.
At that point, he spits on the ground, and he says, "The heartless Komodo." He utters this deep sigh. He says, "My brother will be sore at this great loss. Yet another Kotafu falls at the hands of the villainous, treacherous Komodo." He nods and he says, "Well, at least victory was ours." And he looks to Rom and he says, "Once more, you have disobeyed a direct order. Because you have been successful, I will avoid punishment for now. But know that you shall not leave this house until I say so."
Grounded. Dad.
You embarrassed me in front of my
Gonna go to the
friends.
movies tonight.
At this point, another younger Kotafu runs up from beside the house. He's slightly older than Rom, who you've been dealing with, but not as old as Rem, who you've just met. And he runs up and he sees the fallen body in his arms, and he's very worried and very upset at the loss of this. And he says, "No, surely, no, surely not. It can't be." And he looks at Rom as if to say, "What happened? How did this happen?" And you see the two of them have a short exchange, and they walk off into the house together. What would you like to do?
So
Is Rem still in the room?
Is Rem still in the doorway?
Rem is stood at the doorway and watching his son walk into the house behind him.
Rem,
Yes.
we wish to speak with you. Parley, if you will.
Go ahead.
Perhaps this is conversation best saved for inside.
Indeed.
Could I cast Detect Thought if I can find it?
On Rem?
I can focus my mind on any one creature that I can see within 30 feet of me. I initially learn the surface thoughts of the creature, and then as an action I can shift my attention into the creature's thoughts, but they've got to make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, I gain insight. If it succeeds, the spell ends.
And they become aware that you have been checking for them.
Oh no, either way the target knows. Never mind, I'm not casting that. Never mind.
Let's just try the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, let's try talking to him.
He says to the captain, "Yes, indeed. Perhaps this is a conversation for inside. Lady Parr would be very interested to meet you as well, I'm sure."
I imagine she would be. Oh, it's all right, Chauncey.
Are you taking Chauncey into the building with you?
Of course I'm taking Chauncey into the building with me.
Okay.
He's my bestie.
So you walk in through the front door of the building. It's smallish. It's got a few ante-rooms, but the main chamber in front of you just contains a large dais on which sit two relatively simple wooden chairs. They have large backs. You might call them a throne were they not of very basic design. In one of those chairs sits another Kotaku, female Kotaku. She wears the same long loincloth and wears two strands that tie off around her back in a kind of bright green, almost olive green. She is sat there with a strong-willed determination on her face, and she sees this ragtag band of strange creatures, one of whom is carrying a pet griffin, and she bristles slightly, and she stands and says, "You bring that winged beast in here?"
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Chauncey. He follows.
"I do not care what its name is. Leave it outside."
Oh, no. You don't listen to the mean lady. We're on a diplomatic mission, so you might need to wait outside. If you get into any trouble, run back in, okay? Okay? We go? All right. Off you go, Chauncey.
"That is better. I do not know who you are, but you should know now. We have almost as much trouble with the winged ones as we do with the snake-like ones." And she looks angry, but you did what she told you. Mm-hmm. So she settles. And her husband comes up and says, "There, Lady Parr, I have been speaking with these beings outside. They carry great weapons." And then they go into a muttered conversation.
Can I?
Roll me a perception check.
That's 12.
10. Like 6.
17.
You overhear a conversation that goes something along the lines of, "Perhaps they will swing the favour of the battle. You have said that many times before, husband." "Yes, but we are so close to winning, and we have had so many successes recently. Perhaps these folk will be the ones that will push us over the edge. Perhaps, finally." Roll me another perception check.
That is a natural 19 plus 3.
He drops his voice even further, and you hear the words, "Perhaps, finally, the tablet piece will be ours." And at that point, I'm going to end this hour.
Oh, with
Thank
no,
you so much.
A,
Sorry.
no time to relay that information. B, no time to recover Chauncey.
Yes, the MacGuffin has been found.
I don't know if I'm playing for the next time.
Thank you so much for coming to see the show. Thank you to the people watching on the live stream. We are streaming the whole thing at twitch.tv/adventureswanted. We're live tweeting it at adventures250. If you want to come back to see where the adventure's gone, you're more than welcome to. We're running 10 a.m. to 3 p.m, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day of the Fringe. You can also buy player tickets and come up and have your own special character. I'm
just going to throw to a couple of people here, actually, who have some shows that they're working on. So this is their chance for cheeky little plugs.
Right, yes. I'm in a sketch comedy double act. We are called Dirty White Boys. Our show at the Fringe this year is called Stupid, which is an accurate summation of its content. It is a very fast-paced, turbocharged Morecambe and Wise style sketch show. We are on every day at 9:20 at Just the Tonic at the Caves, which is just on Cowgate. It's a pay what you want show, so it's free to get in or £5 to reserve a ticket. But it's 2 for 1 day today, so it's technically £2.50 to reserve a ticket. There you go. So you can come along. I'm going to leave some flyers here, and then I'm going to turn this way. And if any of them have gone, we won't say a thing about it.
Sure. Cool. I do a show called the MMORPG Show. It's a bit like this. We played Dungeons and Dragons for an hour, in which we sort of trimmed down the rules somewhat. I also have the biggest D20 we can have going. So yeah, we toss that around and basically make it all up. It's a combination of improv, comedy, and D&D. It's at the Counting House Ballroom every day at 9:15, and it's free until the end when I demand a tenner. Politely.
So, we've got a quick turnaround now to the next hour because it's in about 5-10 minutes. So it's just the doors out to your back, but thank you very much for coming, and please a round of applause for the lovely players and our GM.
I think I'm out.
Alex.
I can't get Chauncey.
Alex, do I have time to grab Chance?